Hello everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me and everything is working okay. Let's see, let me make sure everything's set up. And all right. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. And if you're not a mom, happy Sunday. Hope you're having a good weekend. And yeah. So, hi. Welcome to Squared Plans. I'm Stephanie, and today we will be doing a flip through of my April After the Pen spreads here in my catch-all planner. I will be going over all, 4 out of the 5 planners that I keep within this one planner, and speaking to you guys about just my setup and answering any questions you may have about how I plan. It's a good time to just kind of throw things into the chat if you've been wondering about something. Hopefully I can catch your comments as they come in. And yeah, just, kind of relaxed Sunday. And hopefully we'll just have a nice time, chatting and talking about planners. So it's always a good time. It's so funny, I was just talking and I just was in my little normal routine, and normally when I film, I film before, I don't do it live, and I had a pause there and I was like, oh, I need to cut out that pause. And I was like, well, I can't because this is live, so yeah. Anywho, let's go ahead and get this party started. Like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'll be checking it regularly as I go through. And that should get us started. So let's jump in. I have this cover here that I got off of a Happy Planner Notes from a farmhouse, Happy Notes that I got a long time ago. Love it. Also, I have some expander black discs here to hold all of these planners because this is a pretty chunky planner when I have 2 months in here at a time. And it's been working out great. In the past, I used 1.5 inch discs, and I like those too. I upgraded this year just because I had some concerns with the previous discs that I used, and the expander discs are actually working out really well, even though I was a little worried they were going to look too big. So yeah, I mentioned that before when I did the planner setup, but just wanted to mention it again in case you're new or if you had any questions about the actual physical items here on the front. So anyway, I have the front of my planner, and let me get this all centered so you guys can see it. I have like some basic stuff here in the front that I don't really use that much, honestly. I have this pocket, what do you call this? Pocket pouch or like a pencil pouch that I've had in here for so many years. I keep it in here in case I need to hold something kind of temporarily in here and it doesn't fit into my pocket folder, or also too to kind of protect my sticky dash because I don't want them rubbing off onto the cover. That tends to get a little bit more movement. So it's a little bit of a buffer. And I got this at Joann's a while back, but I do know that they have them on Amazon. I think I might have linked it in my Amazon shop if you're looking for something like this for your planner. So yes, I have my sticky dash, and then we jump to the very first section. So I'm just going to go real quickly over my sections, but not really go into detail about them, but just kind of explain how this planner is set up as we go. So I have 4 major sections in my planner. I have my tasks, my goals, my schedules, and then at the very back my reference section. So my task is my inbox, and I use the Getting Things Done inbox method from David Allen, and that works pretty well for me. Still kind of trying to figure out how to get more stuff done in a day, but it's really nice to have this running list that I can just sort through things and figure out where they belong in my schedule or in my life, and what things can wait, but always have a place that I can go to if I have some questions about something that I want to keep somewhere, that thought or that task that I want to keep but maybe don't need to address right away. So it's really good. I have this in my shop, this layout. If you want to know more about that, I also have a video on it, and I can explain that to you. And if you have questions, go ahead and drop in the chat. If you're good, we're good. So anyway, so I have my inbox in the front, then I have my goals section here, and I do have a video series on this if you want to see about the setup for my 2020 goals. Basically, I did quarterly goals this year along with a vision board. So I have my vision where I kind of break things out by things I want to have done, or goals I want to achieve in 2022, and just kind of broke them out. And then each quarter I tackle one big goal or two big goals, and then break them down into milestones that I can then further break down into tasks and put those into my schedule so that things get done. Quarter one was not great. I had 1.5, I would say, goals set up, and I mentioned this a little bit in the last video. I really just didn't have time to really dig into this. It's still penciled in, so I'm probably going to move that to another quarter. And I did reflect on the one main goal which I had was to create a portfolio website. Got it halfway done, I would say, but really not to the point where I had everything done that I needed. So we'll push that forward. And then I have quarter two goals, and I did build out the first goal, and I have one in pencil again in case things don't work out. Maybe I might change it up still. I've been pretty sick, like allergy, sinus sick, and it makes it hard for me to find motivation to do healthy things like, doing my workouts, doing my food processes. So I have that as a goal, but with my current condition, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder. So we'll just see how the quarter goes. But my primary goal is to get all of my 2023 listings up into my Etsy shop, and I have that written out, again, milestones that I can break down each week into tasks. And I haven't looked at quarter three yet, so that's there, but it's ready to go, as well as quarter four. And then these are some older goal sheets that I had that were pertaining to my quarter one goal of my online portfolio. And I just have those in there when I'm ready for going back to that project and getting things done. So that's my goal section in a nutshell there. And then the next section, which is where we're going to spend most of our time today, is my schedule section. And so my schedule section is consists of my yearly section, as well as 5 different planners: my faith, daily, health, social media, and then I have like a budget finance section as well. So we'll be going through the first 4, as I mentioned, and then the last one I keep kind of private, but I can answer any questions you guys might have without actually showing you what's in there if you do have questions about that. Okay, so I have my yearly, like I said, and this doesn't really change. I do use a color coding system here and the future log setup that is in my Etsy shop as well. So there's 2 options for a yearly planner setup, and this is pretty new to my shop. I think I put it in late last year. I really like the idea of it, so you have a place to actually do like a running list of events, and you can kind of keep track. It's working out good for me because I do a lot of planning excuse me, on my monthly, but it's more of a memory planning area. So this is where I keep all of those like events and appointments that I need to remember. And then I use this little cheat sheet here to color code things by whatever it is that I'm entering in, what category. And I'll just keep that in here and move it forward as the year progresses. So that's my yearly section. And then I have a pocket folder in here to hold my pen. And yeah, this is just a pen loop I actually made last year. I do have a video on that as well if you didn't see that and are interested. I show you how to make a bunch of different types of similar pen loops with different materials. And yeah, so that's one of the things I have here, as well as my friction pen, which I love. Friction pens, talk about them all the time, but they're erasable, make a lot of mistakes, so friction pens are my go-to for my planner. Okay, so now that we have all of the housekeeping done from the beginning of my planner, we are into the very first section from April, which is in my faith planner. So I'll take this time to say, if you guys have any questions about the front half, please drop them in the comments, and if not, we're just going to jump into April and talk about this layout. So I've been doing bullet journaling for the whole year of 2022, and mainly in my faith planner. It's something I challenged myself to do this year because I really want to get better at lettering and drawing and doing doodles and coming up with my own styles and themes. So I figured I'd test the waters this year in my faith planner and see how it goes. So the first theme I have, or the April theme I have here, is kind of like a rainy day cloud theme, which was really nice. And then I did a quote to kind of match up with the theme. Throughout the year, I'll be using this black tape with the white writing to kind of unify the planner. So every monthly theme will have this kind of setup with the black tape, and the, like the headers and things will be in this black tape. And I thought that was a good way just to keep everything looking consistent when you put it all together versus having each month look completely different from the next. So this is how it turned out on the first page, which I show in the setup video. And then I have here on the first kind of spread my prayer list, and that is where I just kind of categorize different prayers for people in my life. I have family, friends, people, and myself. People being groups of communities and people outside my sphere of influence. And then I just kind of, as things come up throughout the month, I will write them in and then pray on those daily. I also added in this quote that I came across during one of my readings for the week, and I thought that was a really good one for, kind of highlighting the prayer and help fill this little gap here on the page. Sorry, I'm going to have to cough every so often. Like I said, my sinuses are being very stubborn lately and making things hard, making things hard on me. So the next page is what I called the takeaway page. And every day I do a daily reading. I do a Bible in a Year series every year. So I pick a plan in the app called YouVersion Bible app, and I just go through it every day. And so what I've been doing here is, for the takeaway, originally I was doing a full summary of my reading earlier in the year, and then for I think March and April I decided to kind of cut that down and condense it into a one-line takeaway, something that I could apply to my life from the reading, put immediately into action. So I just did that every day, just kind of took something and kind of regurgitated it here into a more condensed version, something, like I said, that I could use on the day or, in my life. So that is how that page turned out. Pretty simple, straightforward. And here is my first weekly spread. So again, if you're new, the way that I use my faith planner is to practice both my lettering skills, which is something I had wanted to kind of grow and flourish in, as well as taking the reading from the Bible a verse each day and combining those two. So it helps me interpret the word, kind of get closer to the message in a particular verse or verses, and it also strives me to be a little more creative and think outside the box with my lettering techniques and trying different styles and things. So my normal plan of action is to do what I did this month, which is have black plus one or two colors based off of the theme. So this month I picked out the kind of dark and light purples as my main colors for the lettering, and then I use that highlight pink more for the design of the pages. So as I go through, you'll see a lot of the more structural things with the highlights of pink, and then the text and things inside of the boxes or areas where I'm doing the lettering, that will be done with the other two kind of more muted colors of purple. And I use specific markers for that. I'll do this real quick. So I have a big set of Arteza Twi markers, which I got a while back, and I use them religiously here in my faith planner. I love that I have a really tiny tip on one side, a real thin tip, so I can do nice, clean, skinny lettering, but then it also has a brush tip on the other side, which makes it easier for coloring large areas like this. And I'll just pull those colors out right from the beginning, have them ready to go each morning. And I usually try to either alternate every other day with a particular color, but because this month had two purples that were very similar, I just chose whichever one worked best for the day. So that's how it came, how it comes together. And so I have that. I also will use 2 other black pens, one for just kind of plain straight line lettering. I'll use a micron and a 0.3 tip, so that's what you see here with the kind of thin standard print lettering. And then I have my Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen in black, which is awesome for brush lettering and anything that you see where they have a thick, thin stroke. That would be this pen here. So I've been doing this for a number of years now. I just started brush lettering last year, and I'm continuing on this year. I'm not an expert in lettering by any means, but I've kind of honed my own style of lettering, my own kind of letter forms the year prior to, so like in 2020. And then in 2021, I really started adding more brush lettering styling in that, so that I really had a firm grasp of how I wanted the letters to look before I added the brush lettering. And that just worked for me. That's not how everybody starts. Some people start right away with the brush lettering. The problem I've found is that when you jump into brush lettering right from the start, you're usually copying somebody else's style of brush. And so that makes it, if you're looking for a particular style and you have a good example to go off of, that's great. But if you maybe want to do bounce lettering, or if you want to have your own particular style, sometimes it's better to work first on your letter forms, just regular cursive or kind of the letter shapes first, and then add on the challenge of the thick, thin strokes. Because it's a different beast when you start putting in the thick, thin. It seems like it would be really easy to do, but I have found it pretty challenging. So so that's my advice. If you guys are starting out and don't know where to start, maybe just start looking for an example of how you think you want your stuff to look, your style of lettering, and then go from there. And hi, I see you guys, a few of you in the chat. I'm just going to glance over there. And yes, the micron pen is really good. I will say about this, I really love it. I used it for the last year and a half or so. One thing I have found though is that the tip is kind of like blunt on one end, like almost square. So if you tend to write on a slant, or if you write with a pretty severe angle to your lettering, it does get pretty thin, the line, versus if you go straight up and down, if that makes sense. So I found that to be a little bit of an issue with this one that I don't have with the Arteza twine markers. The tip on this guy is more of a cone shape versus like a squared off shape, so it makes it a little bit easier to write on the side as well. So just a heads up on that. But I do think that the quality of the ink is a little bit better with this, and it dries a little faster than the twine markers, so just put that out there. Okay, let me catch my breath here for a second and I'll turn the page. So I usually set up the very first week with you guys in the monthly setup for Faith, and then the rest of the weeks in the month, I will just do it a day or two before the week begins, kind of just set up a basic format, and then fill in every day the verse of the day. So this was how I did the second week, and I did it kind of just a simple, almost like a horizontal format with a little bit of space here around the edges. And I actually really like this one. I tend to prefer vertical boxes, so I have a long kind of tight space versus having it horizontal when I do the lettering, but it really just depends on how I'm feeling. Some come out a lot better this way and sometimes they don't, but I do tend to prefer the vertical, but you will see me do horizontal pretty frequently as well. So here's a good example of what I tend to gravitate towards, which is that long vertical box. And this one is very similar to the standard quadrant layout from my shop, which is what I used all last year for my Faith planner. So I was very familiar with this styling, which is probably why I tend to like it a little bit better, because I have so much more practice in it. But this is how it turned out, and I really liked some of these. Some of them were, it depended on the day, like I said, but some of these came out really good this month. So I'm excited that you know, I had some good weeks or some good days on here. And then I think this was the last week. So here I decided to do clouds, which was a challenge in and of itself to put the lettering in here. And although I like the idea of it, I don't think it was quite as practical as I wanted it to be for actual layout. But I got it to work, and so this is how it turned out. Kind of busy but fun, I thought, and you know, probably the only time I'll have a chance to do these clouds in a theme like this. So yeah, I just wanted to try it and see how it turned out. And finally, we have the what I read this month section. And so this is just where I keep track of that Bible plan that I told you about, where I'm going through it in a year, and the different verses that I am reading, just so I have a nice overall summary of what I read in the month. So that is the end of my faith planner. Let me go ahead and move this out. So this is my normal routine. I will pull out the month at a time and then put it into its individual planner. And here is the faith planner that I'm currently using. And let's jump to, let's see, this is April. So this is just made up of bullet journal dot grid pages and some dividers from an older Happy Planner that I ended up not really using. I think I got it on clearance. So I'm just using those dividers. It was a faith planner, so it's a really nice little addition here. What I need to do is actually cover these so it's got like a blank side here, so each month looks nice and clean. But yeah, so that's basically it. So I just have paper kind of separated out in here all the way through. And as I start the month, I just grab out a section and move it in and design it and do all that good stuff. So like I said, that is my faith planner for April. Pretty simple. I have here my little cheat sheet for for the beginning of May. I'm doing a self-care challenge for May, so I like to print things out, excuse me, print things out from Pinterest and, kind of use that as a guide for sometimes my monthly challenges. So I have that already set up here in May. Let's jump ahead to, let's see, it'll be Faith Month. Yeah. And then we'll move into the daily section. I also have this little grid cheat sheet, which somebody requested that maybe I do a video on. I might, if there's some interest in seeing more about this page, but it just helps you to figure out how to build out each layout each weekly. It gives you kind of like a cheat sheet of how many numbered spaces to go to get even spacing. And I saw this a while back on a bullet journal video and thought it would be helpful here. So I just have that in there as a reference, and it's been working out pretty well. Any questions about my faith, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm just going to take a drink of water real quick. Okay, so the next section that I have is my daily section. And to start it off, I have my daily routines. I have a video on this setup as well. I have my morning routine, which probably needs a bit of a refresh, but I've been going back to this. Earlier in the year, I was kind of getting off of my 7 a.m. wake-up call, but now I'm back on it. So it's getting a little bit more consistent as far as my morning routine start and stop times. I also have my master weekly schedule. So this is like when the week goes perfectly, and I have it sorted by categories, color-coded, and I have also focus days at the top, so I know which days I'll be focusing on what. And this is pretty good. It's like something I've already sort of memorized now, so I don't really reference it that often, but I think I need to do an upgrade or an update on it just because I think that there's been a little bit of a variation now, so I'll probably redo this very soon. We'll see when that happens. I'm sure I'll end up doing another video on it. And then finally I have my block it out schedule, which is more of a daily schedule kind of grouped into time slots. And this is a way of block scheduling. So if you're interested in that, there's a lot of videos about block scheduling. And this is just me, how I set it up. And so I have a quick reference for days where I need a little less structure than my master schedule, but like to have a little bit of a, guideline for how the day should go. And then I also just built out this lovely monthly cleaning schedule as well as my spring cleaning schedule. And I had big plans to start checking things off in early May, and I have not gotten to anything. It's been really sad, so I'm already a week behind, but hopefully we'll jump on that pretty soon. And then I've got on the back here, like I said, the spring cleaning section, which is really great for, those things that you do maybe once or twice a year. I have a nice list of this ready to go for reference. And one of the things I've been waiting on too is a pen. I want to get a wet erase pen so that I can easily take it off when I need to, but that it won't kind of rub off on other pages, which I find is the case with the dry erase pens. So I really want it to be a wet erase, but I need to order it online, and it's been a little bit of a chore. So I've just for now kind of left it as is. You can also use Sharpie on like laminated pages as well, but it takes a bit more to take it off. So it'll probably work out well for the spring cleaning side because I don't have to, refresh it so often using a Sharpie on this side. But this side, since it's monthly, I would have to be constantly redoing it. And so I really want a wet erase specifically for this side in particular. So anyway, I did do a video on this, so if you want to see how I set this up and the whole process, again, check my channel, cleaning schedule. You should be able to find it pretty easy. Okay, so now we're into the first kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, dated part of the daily section, which is my horizontal combined planner from my shop. So most of the planners you're going to see in here are going to be from my Etsy printable shop. They're all kind of based off of older Happy Planner layouts, but minimalized, and it was before Happy Planner was doing minimal spreads. Now they're doing just minimal. So I created these layouts because I wasn't finding anything that was just super neutral with no colors and embellishments, but now that's all that Happy Planner has as far as planners, it seems. So it's kind of funny that way. But anyway, so I have these all in my shop. If you want to have some on your own that you can print on demand or try different layouts, it's pretty great. And I'm just going to jump over to the comments. Hi. Oh yeah, it's been really difficult to find wet erase pens in stores. I agree. I looked at Target and I found some at Staples, but you had to buy quite a bit. So I'm just going to look online and see if I can find something I liked a little better. Okay, so yeah, so back to my monthly spread. So this is how April turned out. I really love the color scheme and the styling for this month. It was pretty simple and not a lot going on, but I think that worked really well with how I use this layout. So what I do is I basically just write down a memory each day. I have a pretty mundane life, so just kind of distinguishing the days from each other has been really great. And going back and seeing what I've been doing within a certain time frame has been nice. So that's how I've been using my monthly layout, and I found it so much more useful than I had in the past, because in the past I only would have like one or two things I needed to track, maybe a birthday or a doctor's appointment, and that was it. So I would design the layout, but I really wouldn't use it to its full potential. So this way I feel like I'm using the spreads fully and I'm still getting some benefit out of it as well. And then I also include anything that's kind of going on in the month, usually in the sidebar. And I've also been adding in any books I've been reading here as well, just to keep track this year. And that's been going pretty well. So this is how it turned out. Really loved this month. I thought it came out really well, or good. So I think early in April I was in a kind of like mellow, low-key mood. So this spread was another example of that, where somewhat minimal, just little highlights here, not a lot of color, just kind of more focused in on simple but clean and pretty. So this is how the first week turned out, and I thought it turned out really well. Simple kind of helps get me more focused in on doing more things, so that is always good. And yeah, I really liked this one a lot. I tend to do certain things in my weekly spreads. I do a focus usually each day, so sometimes I have a box or something to highlight it in, and sometimes I just have like a little area designated for it. And then I always have a checklist of tasks. And usually I only can get to 3 to 4 tasks a day, so you know, it's usually I put down 3 dots in preparation and then fill it out as I go. If I get 4 or 5 things on there, then I'm probably not going to finish all of those things, but maybe I'll start them. So I have my little my symbol system, and that helps me keep track of what tasks I've done and when. So an X means it's complete, a half slash there means it's been started, and then an arrow means that I've migrated the task forward somewhere. So that's how that turned out, and again, I really did like this kind of mellow look to the spread. And this one was a little bit more, I wouldn't say crazy, maybe chaotic, but good in a good way. It was a splash of color, so let me check. I don't know if that first one was a plannable challenge, but I'm confident that this one is. Let me jump to my little cheat sheet. Yeah, so this one here, let me just go back for a second. This one here was for the plannable challenge, A New Leaf, which is why it's, I think, you know, all about the leaves and a little bit more subdued. So that was fun. And then this one was for Splash of Color, which I got really kind of overzealous with the splash here, but it was a fun little addition of texture to the spread, along with some watercolor florals and some watercolor feels, mainly in the pink and orange tones, which was a nice color palette to work in. And I also added in a long box. So usually when I have a long box like this, or a little bit of a extra box, that is for weekly tasks that maybe I don't need to do on a particular day, but just want to keep track of for the week. So I have that in there. I'll also put them here on the bottom, but that's mainly the 2 ways that I use that, like long box for weeklies and then this section here for weeklies. Everything else is usually something I plan to do on that day. And again, this turned out pretty good. I have been mixing in a little bit of my monoline lettering here and there, trying to keep that up a little bit and just add a little more fun to each of the spreads. So it comes out okay when I use my friction pen, but it's not as clean as when I use either the Micron or the Tombow Furunosuke pen that I mentioned for Faith. Sometimes I'll bring that in when I really want to add a little something extra to a spread. But sometimes it's just I'm in a rush, but I want to add a little something, and I'll just do it with the friction pen. So yeah, so that's how this turned out. And if you want to know anything else too about these setups, I go into really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lot of detail. That's what I want to say. I go into a lot of detail as I'm doing the setup. So I explain, you know, what materials I'm using. There's usually links in the description. So if there's something you see on a spread and you want to know where it came from, always go back to the Plan With Me video, and usually I'll have all the information there that you need or you're looking for. So that said, this is again another plannable challenge if I'm not mistaken. And I already forgot what it is, so let me check. Oh yes, yeah, okay. So this one was for pattern play, and this was way different than what I normally do, but it was a really fun one to try to figure out and to compose. Just use some box stickers, some pattern box stickers. I believe these are from Cocoa Daisy. Cut them into triangles and then made these like pinwheel style spreads. or ideas, and then like almost made it like a golden field in the, I don't know, Midwest. It kind of like reminded me of the prairie. It had some clouds, just kind of made a mood with it, and I thought it came out cool. Like, it was very different though for me, and a little bit more chaotic to follow where I should put things, but overall I really liked the new unique feel of it. And yeah, again, like I said, everything's pretty consistent as far as how I plan, checklists and focus areas on each day. Got my this week here, so not really different as far as how I'm using it, but it is fun to try different ways to design the page and still do the same thing over and over each week. So the design kind of makes it more unique and special each week. So this one here is for the last week of April going into May, and this one was for the One Book Wonder Plannable Challenge theme. So I really love this spread. It took a bit to figure out how to make this work, but the idea is really cool, especially if you need more room in your planner spreads for particular weeks. Maybe you have a really busy week, or there's something that you really, want to delve into, like a project that you need to show steps for, that kind of thing. This was a really great solution for that. So on the one side here, I ended up using this side in particular for priority things that we needed to get done. So there's been some things in the honeydew list for a while as far as our car maintenance. There's some medical stuff that I need to take care of, some adulting as well, and business stuff that I needed to take care of. So it was a nice place to kind of have it compartmentalized and separated from the individual daily tasks, since this isn't stuff I didn't think I would get to on a particular day, but I wanted to keep it in mind, make sure that I was not forgetting about it. So that was awesome. And then I kept everything else pretty simple. As you can see on the daily, I have just a simple back and forth checklists, and then my focus boxes each day, and rainbow spread, very fun, very colorful. And on this side, I ended up doing what I would normally do with that long box here, a running weekly to-do list. So this was outside of those categories I just showed you there, but things I didn't want to forget about for the week that I wanted to look into. Excuse me. So I also, used this for that, and that turned out really good. Kind of kept it simple with the blue dot on this one. This one I used a little bit more of the rainbow coloring, but I think this worked out really well. And again, I used the side thoroughly as well. Had a lot going on this week, so it was good. And that is the last spread of the month. And finally, I have my habit tracker. Sorry, I have to cough, you guys. Good times with the live video. Sorry. I have my habit tracker here, and again, this is very consistent from month to month, but I break it out into 4 major categories. I color code it just so it's easier to follow across the page. And the top is my faith. This is more like skincare, personal care. This is more like health and fitness, and then this is just random stuff that I'm working towards habit-wise. Also, the little dots mean that it's something I started but maybe didn't do it fully, and if it's crossed out, then that means that I completed the task complete. So that is my daily, and I already have my May set up for the next month, or for this month. Let's go. So again, my daily planner is very similar to the Faith. It's just a set of discs and a cover with some dividers from previous planners and repurposed. And then I'm using my printables inside of that. So for these, I'll probably take it and just glue the page down to the dividers themselves, so that I don't have to worry about covering each page. But for the other ones, since I have a cover sheet, I will be using a blank page. And that is it. So we're going to go ahead and put that to the side. And we're moving on into the next section, which is my health section. Let me make sure everything's all centered up here. Okay, let me get a drink of water. Again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them into the chat, or just say hi. Hey, let me know you're out there. I know that there wasn't as many people able to come this week because of Mother's Day, and that's all good. I had a feeling, but I didn't want to postpone it in case, you know, there were further conflicts. The closer you get to summer, there's more and more conflicts. So, yeah, so I just wanted to get her done and keep this consistent. Otherwise, I don't know. I could see this getting off track and me letting it go if I don't keep it consistent, if you know what I mean. So hopefully that works for you guys too. And I always post the recording after the fact, so if you need to go back and reference anything, or you know, if you don't get to make it to the live, you can watch it afterwards. Oh, good. I'm glad to see you guys coming in now, seeing a few more hellos come in through the chat. So let's talk about my health planner, guys. Yeah, so health planning has been a bit of a struggle for this year. I really started out pretty consistent for the first month or so, and then things just started to go off the rails around March, and I'm really struggling to get back into a consistent routine just because of all of this like sinus problem, allergy issues I've been having. But try not to make excuses. I just need to get her done. So I made this insert. I made it in 3 different videos. I have the inside, which was the original, like creating the fold out. So that's a fold out page. And then I have this cover page 2 in a separate video, which was a good setup. And then I just completed the back side, which is my like weight loss reference page, I would say. So I did this to kind of help boost my, you know, determination to get things done and to stop making excuses, like I said. Also, too, I wanted something that would stick with the insert throughout the whole year, something that wasn't kind of dependent on, you know, a certain month, or because I did it so late in the game, I didn't want to start something that was supposed to be from January through the year. So this was a really good way for me to kind of meet my need and give me some motivation and some good habit, healthy tips that I could reference on the regular. Because a lot of these things I kind of know, but sometimes I forget about them, or I just intuitively go back to what I'm used to. Like, for example, doing more strength training as my primary exercise focus. I know this in my brain, but because I was, you know, so into cardio for so long, sometimes I just feel like I need more cardio when really I should still be putting more effort into strength training, even if I'm not, you know what I mean? Even if I don't know that it doesn't feel like it's doing as much. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Aw. I just jumped in the chat a little bit. Yeah, I hear you about health planner being blank since Jan 16. Poor thing. And yeah, allergies suck. This has been a really good page, and I have referenced it already a couple times, so highly recommend it. I do have the link to where I got a lot of the information. There was like a nice little infographic I found on Instagram, and I kind of built it off of that, and I think it turned out really good and will be a great reference for me. So yeah, so if you want to know more about that, there's videos on all 3 elements of this insert, and I just finished filming this last week, so you should be able to find this one pretty easily. Okay, so that's just kind of my start to my health section, and then I have my health trackers. Almost did it again. So in the front of my health planner, I have a perpetual calendar, and that is where I've been tracking my weight. And we will keep that hidden because, like I said, things aren't going that great. but I pretty much just write down daily my weight, and then I also have like a body fat percentage measurement on my scale, on my bathroom scale. So I write that down too, although I have figured out that writing it every day, it's very dependent on my weight. So it goes up and down exactly with my weight. So there's, I don't know, it's not really telling me anything if I'm gaining more muscle or losing more fat. It tends to be, I think there's just like a calculation it does based off your weight and age and height or whatever. So that was a little bit disappointing to figure out. But overall, you know, it's still good information to know where I should be shooting for. I have mentioned this before in the past. In the past, saying that again, I haven't been a proponent of taking my weight more than once a week because you get sort of fixated on it. But this year I decided to just keep track every day so that I keep it in mind. I'm hoping that just seeing it every day will help from things just sliding out of hand. Although I have to say, it hasn't really helped as much as I'd hoped it would. Hasn't put enough fire in me to really do something more than I am already. So yes, it's encouraging when the scale goes down, but when the scale kind of creeps up, and you know, every day you're going to fluctuate a little bit up and down, but when it creeps up and up so slowly, sometimes, you know, you lose focus on, you know, doing what you need to do. So I've kind of found that to be the case versus like when you would check it weekly and it would jump up, you know, if you jumped up like 4 or 5 pounds and you kind of freak out a little bit. But seeing it every day and it jumps up, you know, a half a pound or something, you just, you know, I feel like I'm getting more numb to it. So I don't know if this was the best strategy. You know what I mean, guys? Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But that is what I've been doing. And I'll probably just finish out at least the first half of the year and then see if I want to keep doing it daily or maybe jump to weekly on the second half. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so I have that in there and I do that every day as part of my routine. And then we have my monthly layout. Let me see. I'm just going to jump in. I saw the chat move a little bit. Oh, that's smart. So I like that you jump on the scale, kind of see it, but you only track it once a month. That's pretty interesting. That's a good plan. And I haven't done a weekly average. Yeah, maybe I should. That might help me kind of get a little more perspective on what my actual number is, how much I'm really fluctuating. So that's a good idea. Thank you guys for chiming in there. Okay, so back to this. Going to my monthly layout. So the way that I've been using my health planner, my monthly layout section of it, first off, I've replaced the standard kind of unlined version of the monthly with a lined version so that I could write in a fairly neat and organized manner. And I've been using this for my like chronic symptom tracking. So what I do is I just kind of do a quick summary of how I'm feeling throughout the day, like what symptoms I have, maybe something that I ate or the weather or something that might have made me worse or whatever, based off of, you know, just what's going on in my life and how I wake up and what time I go to bed, that kind of stuff, you know, that might affect me. So I've just been writing that down throughout the year. I've done that all of last year as well, and it's been really beneficial just to kind of get a picture of how my health was in certain time frames of the year as well as what might be affecting it. So yeah, so I put that in, and I also am tracking my steps this time around or this year in this section again. I also put them in my stats, which you'll see in a minute. This was just in hopes for me to kind of see how I'm failing in reaching my step count and hopefully help motivate me to get more steps daily, which I do think that it does help to an extent. There's certain days I know I don't move, which is mainly Saturday. I hardly go anywhere, so that's usually a pretty slow step day. But then there's days that I know I'm going to be doing walks with friends and things, and I get my over 10,000 steps on those days. But just trying to fit in more time throughout the week where I'm doing more than just kind of sitting at my desk working and doing, you know, if I do a strength training workout, there's not as many steps. So just trying to figure out ways to add more of that in, kind of based too off of that weight loss strategy sheet I told you to help me boost, you know, just fat burning and calorie burning in general. Let's see, I'm going to jump over to the chat real quick. Yeah, steps are really lacking. It's hard. It's so hard. Working from home has been much more of a challenge than I realized. And over the years, I've just seen, without the gym to kind of keep me on track, it's been really difficult. This month, I did do a little bit of styling that I thought turned out pretty good this month, so I will talk about it. Usually, I just throw down stickers and don't worry too much about this spread because, like I said, it's mostly going to be functional as far as writing things down. But I did do a little collage of workout items, trying to get myself more motivated, and then some little healthy habit boxes. All of those were from the Healthy Hero sticker books from many years ago now that were part of a Happy Girl line. And so I bought a bunch at the time. I have like 3 or 4 of those books, so I have plenty of these extra stickers. So just threw some down to give it some color and some life. So here's the first weekly, and so some of these health plan with me's I didn't do this month, I believe, because I wanted to add in some more variations of videos, and it's just too hard to do 2 plan with me's, and then usually there's like, you know, the monthly and the faith layout and the flip through and all that. So usually I will cut one of the plan with me's in the week if I want to add in something extra for you guys in the video realm that is out of my norm. So there might be a few that don't have videos, and this might have been one. I can't remember which ones I did and which ones I didn't. But the layout that I use is the wellness layout from my shop, and it's very similar to the fitness layout, both based off of the Happy Planner layouts. The fitness layout in my shop does have a habit tracker, but the wellness layout does not. So this year I switched to the wellness layout, but added in the habit tracker as a custom item so that I would have it there. So if you're looking for the wellness layout from my shop, just note it does not have that habit tracker, but you can get it customized if you want. You just need to reach out to me and we can, you know, work something out for you to get the habit tracker on there. Or you could just use the fitness layout, which is very similar and has it already built in. Let's see. Oh, that's great. Increasing your steps, I agree. It's been really hard, yeah, working out at home. Yeah, it's just not the same. I don't have the same perseverance and, you know, determination like I did when I was in the gym. And I don't know, I just feel like things are just getting harder and harder. So I really need to figure something out. I need to stop making excuses and make progress. See, no more excuses. I even have written it down, so it's got to work. So real quick, let me go over just how I usually set up the sheet in case you've never seen this before. I tend to do my workout somewhere near the top. So if I do 2 workouts, I have them written down here, or 1, and then I will add in how much time I did that workout and how many calories burned, all based off of my Apple Watch. So that's been really good. And then I've also been just kind of loosely tracking my fasting hours. So when I break my fast in the day and then when I stop eating. I haven't been very diligent about it. So some days I start eating way early and some days, you know, I eat way late into the night, you know, depending on when I eat dinner. So it's not like I've been sticking to a specific eating window. But my goal in the past was always to kind of do like a 8 hours eating, 16-hour fast. And that works pretty well for me. I tend not to eat anything in the morning, so I go right for some decaf coffee in the morning. I had to cut out the caffeine because that was also becoming an issue. So I just do decaf, and then I go into eating usually around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. But some days, like I said, I break it early, or if I wake up hungry, sometimes I'll eat early. So I've just been tracking it loosely just to kind of get a feel for that. And then I have my stats, which I make these little stickers just to make it easy for me to track. And then I have all this information off of my Apple Watch that feeds into my iPhone, and I write that down daily. Basically, it's kind of hard to read on this one, but it's like steps, miles, calories burned, minutes, like exercise minutes, stand hours, which is like how many times I stand up for like 1 or 2 minutes, kind of move around each hour so I don't get too sedentary every day, and then sleep overall. So that's just good information, and I like to review it each day and just give me a good picture of how I'm doing overall with my health and wellness. And then below that I have my food log. So I just write that in kind of basic here, but then I'll go into detail in my app on my phone, which is my MyFitnessPal, and I get the calorie count off of that. I need to do more in the micro realm, so like just keeping track more of like my proteins, fats, carbs. I'm trying to get into meal planning, but I really hate meal planning, you guys. I really hate it. I hate meal planning. I hate grocery shopping. I hate prepping. I just hate the whole process. So ideally, I would have a personal chef that would just make all my meals to my specifications and everything would be happy. But I'm not rich and famous, so I'm dealing with it like most of us are to try to get our healthy eating on track. So I do my best, but it's not great. I'm also pretty much plant-based as far as my eating habits. Not super strict again, you know, sometimes I eat things with, you know, cheese bases and, you know, occasionally I will have meat. But for the most part, I would say I was like 90% plant-based as far as my eating habits. So that's good, but it comes with the struggle of eating more protein. So it's a balancing act for me and just trying to get those macros in check so that maybe my weight will kind of level off or start going down again like it did in the past. So that's basically what I track in this main area here, and then on the sidebar I'll usually have some goals, but lately I've just been doing some encouraging, motivating kind of moments and then some habits that I usually track, trying to get to 10,000 steps a day, but it's really been elusive. Closing my Apple Watch rings, which are now more commonplace and most people know about the rings, but it basically helps me keep track of, you know, how much I'm moving each day. I have a goal for that. I have a goal for how many times I'm standing and then how many exercise minutes. So there's like some basic health goals to reach each day, and if you do, you close the rings. So I did pretty good this week. And then finally I have my 1,600 calories or less, which usually doesn't go to plan, to be honest, but that's what I'm shooting for every day. If I'm doing it right, I want to be at that or less. And then I have my hydration tracker, and so each one of these I track as a 8-ounce dot, if you will, because I have a 16-ounce bottle or 18-ounce bottle, I guess. So I just track it roughly like that. And so usually I drink 2 to 3 bottles of water a day if I get everything done. Okay, so that was a lot. And let's go ahead and jump to the next layout. So again, same content, but a little bit different design. This one I definitely did do a setup video for, and it was really cool because I used some rub-on transfers, and those came from the Dollar Tree, and it was really just something I had in my stash, and I really wasn't sure how to use it because the way that the rub-on transfers were designed, they were all kind of collaged like this, and it makes it a little bit more challenging. But I think it worked out perfectly as kind of like this little block of vintage look here, along with some washi tapes and just some other neutral watercolor feels that I thought matched well with the design there. So this one was a really fun one. I really enjoyed it. It felt full and lush as I was going through the week. And sometimes it depends on the styling. Usually neutrals don't do so good for me in my health planner. I usually gravitate towards brighter colors. But this one really worked, I think, for the way that this was designed. Sorry. Lots of fun here. Rub-on transfers were a great option if you are new to them for your planner and you have a Dollar Tree nearby. Do check them out. They have stickers there. They have rub-ons, like I said. They have a lot of little planner items that you wouldn't expect on the cheap. So I tried those out a few months ago, rub-on transfers, and loved them in the planner. So I've been using them fairly regularly as, you know, as things come up. Excuse me. Hold on, I'm gonna get some water. Dry throat. Okay, back to the health spreads. So this one was a fun one. This one was like a fruity, tropical feel. Trying to use up my stash. A lot of older books that I was pulling from on this one. I had some older Hobby Lobby stickers with these like colorful fruits, and then this was like a super old Today is the Day Happy Planner sticker book. I think that was the one. Maybe, no, sorry, this was Floral Memories. But a really older style Happy Planner sticker book that had some stickers in there that I hadn't used, and I thought it would be nice to do this like tropical kind of juicy feel, which was good. Kind of reminded me of smoothies and stuff, and summertime. It was really hot that week, so when I designed it, I think I was just ready for summer. Again, same content, kind of a minimal design this week. I like to combine these two top boxes a lot of times and make a little bit more room for both decor and the workouts that I'm tracking. So that worked out pretty well. And then again, some goals and habits and all that stuff here on the side. And this one was the last one of the month. Super fun. I believe there was a video on this one as well. And I did these cool like washi rainbow stripes. This could be used in a bunch of different ways in different formats, so not just in a health planner, but I really liked how it turned out and this alternative color rainbow theme. A lot of these stickers came from the Cool to Be Kind student sticker book from not last year, but I think it was actually the year before, like 2020. And it was really just, you know, it's definitely student-based, but there was a lot of cool stickers in there that I really have liked, especially for my health planner. They tended to match better with my health planner. So this is how it turned out, and like I said, kind of the same format as I do every week, so there's not much different, but you know, workouts, stats, intermittent fasting hours, calories and food log, that kind of stuff. And then I have my meds and supplements page. So this, as well as the daily habits page from my horizontal section, they are my habit tracker layout that's in my shop as like an individual, what do you call that, where it's a resizable sheet. So you can, you know, use it at letter size, or you can shrink it down and make it into like an A4 or whatever, not A4, A6 size, whatever you need it to be, or A5. And then this one here, I just kind of customized the title. So instead of it saying habit tracker, it says meds and supplements. And then I just changed this to say meds and supplements here instead of habits. Everything else is the same. And I just basically use this to track all of the medications and supplements that I'm trying at the time or I'm using to help alleviate my allergies and asthma and all this other stuff, and trying to see what seems to be working and what doesn't, and trying new things. And it's been good to have it on this sheet in one kind of complete, you know, across the board monthly look, so I can see, you know, where did I have a lot of something, how was I feeling, and I can cross-reference that with the monthly. So that's been good to have, and I use that as a kind of a basic tracker, if you will, of my meds and supplements. I also have been doing a monthly kind of overview for my strength training. I've been doing a workout plan where I try to track what I want to do, and then on the back, usually, I will write out the strength training plan for the month. So like what muscles I'm going to work on which days, and I did a pretty good job, like I said, early in the year. March fell off, and then for April, I just decided to go back to that February plan that I had in my planner. So I have it handy, so let me grab it. So here is the February sheet, and like I said, I did a lot better in February, and so I just went back to the same plan, so I wouldn't have to rethink the whole thing again for April, since March didn't go in any consistent order. I just went back to this, and that was a good way to kind of alleviate some of the stress of trying to figure out what I was going to do. So that was good, and it's nice to have it there for reference. But yeah, as you can see, I didn't do as much as I had really planned on doing. Very light on the strength training, but I did do more walking, which was good. At least I had something going on with that. And that is it for my health planner. I already have May in there, so let me go ahead and move in April into my health planner. And again, very hodgepodgey health planner setup as well. Let me grab with some dividers I made out of cardstock, out of some old gold cardstock, labeled, and then I have my printables in there, and just some discs and a cover from one of the Happy Notes I got a while back. So that's it. So again, I move out a month at a time. I've already moved in May, and I'm working through that. So we're into, oh, I even did a meal prep plan for the first week of May, and sort of went okay, but not really. So I really hate it, you guys. I really hate it. And I still need to do my written out plan. I do have it in my phone so that I can follow along and do my workouts. I use an app called JeFit. It's like JFit for tracking my workouts. I used to use bodybuilding.com, you know, their app on the phone, but I switched to this other one, which I like a little better. It's a little cleaner and faster to get in and out of. So I have the plan. I just need to write it down now. So that's in there, and then I have my meal plan that I need to work on. But yeah, you guys, the struggle is real. Okay, so finally, let's jump into my social media, which I've been doing kind of like a monthly setup for my social media, so it is fairly decorated. And let me just jump ahead to the first section, which is my year at a glance. So here is where I keep track of my daily subscribers and followers on Instagram and YouTube. And I just write down the number each day. I am using red and blue because those are colors I don't use as much on my 4-color pen back here. Got that. And then we jump first into the monthly layout. So this one, like I said, I did a little more decorating than I had in the past. For this one, I use mostly stickers from Anna Bean's, Anna Bean on a Mission, her sticker book that came out. I think it's Florals, maybe Volume 1, or Spring Florals, Volume 1. So I just thought it would be nice to bring in some spring vibes and some color into this section of my planner since it's been pretty dull lately. And I tend to color code, so this month I continued with my color coding. I changed it up for May. I stopped doing as much color coding in May, which you'll see next month. But for now, I do blue for my Instagram posts, green for YouTube videos, and then red is anything special that I need to remember, any call-outs or changes to the plan. And then I will put into the plannable themes usually every month so I have a quick reference. So for the layout that I'm using, again, these are printables from my shop. This one here is the dashboard layout for my shop with a few modifications. I've changed the titles up here to match for what I wanted my titles to be for the social media in particular. I added in this videos of the week section so that I could easily track my progress in filming, voicing, editing videos. And then down here I have this little kind of section again of followers and subscribers with the daily plus and minus count. Just again, I like to see the ups and downs each week as well. But it's fun to have a running list as well so I can see from month to month how things have changed. So this is how the first one turned out, and again I used Anna Bean's stickers for the most part on here along with some washi, and I think it turned out really cute. I really liked this kind of green-pink color scheme. I set all of this up ahead of time, so like I do this before the month begins so that I don't have to worry about it each week. One less thing to worry about, and that has been working out pretty well since I like to have a decorated planner in my social, but there's no more real decorated happy planners anymore. So I haven't found anything that works, so I have to decorate it myself. That's been a way to kind of work around it. And just kind of pre-decorating everything a month at a time, and then I don't have to worry about it from week to week. So here is the next week, and like I mentioned before, I have my little categories set up. Here on the dailies, I usually track my Instagram posts, and then if I have a story connected to it, I will put that kind of bracketed in underneath, or like a community post or anything else special underneath that. And then my videos are usually in boxes or highlighted somehow on the kind of in the headers like this, as well as here. But again, Anna Bean's Florals. I did add in quotes from, I think, one of the older Happy Planner sticker books too, to kind of match up with the florals from Anna Bean's book. And then also added in a few washi tapes from my stash. And I always color code my highlighters too to match with the colors for the theme. So this was the next week, and this one was a really kind of unique color scheme. It reminded me of like a stoplight at first when I saw these in a row, but I think that the colors are really kind of vibrant and fun. But I wouldn't normally gravitate towards a red, yellow, and green theme, but it really just worked, I thought, for the spread. And again, kind of based off these flowers with the quote from a Happy Planner sticker book from somewhere. I want to say this one might have been the Today's the Day sticker book, an old one from way back when, also known as the 1, 2, 3, 4 sticker book. But anyway, so this is how it turned out. And then finally I did more of a kind of cool, but with pops of yellow tones based off of these Anna Bean stickers here as well. And again, a quote from the Happy Planner with some washi. So I try to keep things pretty consistent when I'm setting it up, so it's not like I have to think too hard on each of the spreads. This month I did like all of them in the same theme. I just mixed up how they were laid out on the page. But for April, I did, you know, specific color schemes based off the same book. So it varies on how I approach it, but this was, you know, a way just to kind of simplify the process and get it all done without having to think too hard. And I really liked how this month turned out. And then I've just been doing a quick review from the previous month and the last month here on the notes page. This is the standard page that comes at the back of all of my combined planners, but I've replaced it out with the habit trackers that I showed you earlier in my daily and my health. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this guy out. And another hodgepodge of stuff, different dividers and printables. Not printable, yeah, and printables. Just drop that in. And again, I'll probably, like I said, just glue these right down to the dividers and make my life easier. So that's it. I only have 6 months printed in here because I was hoping that Happy Planner might come out with something on the back to school release with something more decorated. I didn't see anything. So if you guys were paying close attention, let me know if you saw a dashboard layout from the Happy Planner that has decor inside, like some of the old school ones, not the neutral, you know, standard template that they've been using now for the last year or so. I'm really looking for something that's actually designed and decorated, and I haven't seen anything from them or came across anything, but maybe I missed something. Maybe from Walmart or Staples or something. So let me know if you guys have come across a dashboard designed layout for the next half of the year or into 2023. Okay, so that's the end of that. Like I said, I have one more planner in the back. Let me just jump to... Oh, I have a bunch of stuff in the back here. Yeah, so I'll just talk from here. I have a financial section in the back, which is based off of the, which is the Happy Planner budget planner for 2022. That's what year we're in now, right? Yeah. And I have in the perpetual calendar there, I track my Etsy daily sales. I have a monthly overview of our household budget expenses like bill pay, that kind of stuff. And then in the actual pages of the budget planner, I've been keeping track of our expenses, both my work expenses, business expenses versus our household expenses, and just trying to get a feel for where we are financially. It's something I never really had to do, but it's getting more and more important now that I've got this small business on the side and for tax reasons and all this nonsense. So much adulting. So yeah. Anyway, lots and lots to do with finances nowadays, but I just keep it in that planner. Nothing really profound. I have looked at other planner babes who are doing financial planning and budget planning, and yeah, I haven't found anything that really speaks to me as far as organizing my budget life. So for now, it's just more about awareness of where our money's going and keeping track of certain expenses. But yeah, that's how I'm using it this year. So not a lot to impart as far as advice or things that might be helpful for you guys in your own budget planning experiences. Okay. So the last section is my reference section. So I mentioned before I have goals and tasks at the front along with my schedule section, which was all of that planner section I just went through. And then finally I have my reference section, which includes 4 different dividers here. I have a personal section, business, social, and what I call this time around collections, but it's basically like a miscellaneous section. And I just keep track of things that I reference somewhat regularly in these 4 categories. So some of them I really can't show you, some of them are a little more too personal, and then some are like ideas for social media and for my business. And in the back, collections are more like fun things like restaurants to try and movies to watch and books to read, that kind of thing. So I have that all in there, and the last little bit is just some extra note paper here at the back. I'm using some various things. And then my big 4-color pen here on another pen loop I created. And that's it. Woo! I'm going to jump over to the chat real quick, see if I miss anything. Okay, cool. If you like me... Yeah, food and gas prices are cray-cray right now. Gas in particular, I mean, this is partly why I'm so glad now that I work from home. And it's like, wow, I can't imagine if I had to commute like some of my friends. It's crazy out there, you guys. So hopefully you're all doing okay and managing this inflation style of crisis we're going to go through for a bit here. But yes, budget planning, important, but like I said, I don't know that I'm doing any better than anyone else trying to figure out how things are going or how to make my budget any better. But anyway, that is it, you guys. That is my April flip through for 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave them in the chat right now if you have something else that maybe you forgot to say or mention. Also, too, you can leave them in the comments after I post the video. But I thank you guys for watching. If you can, please like this video, as well as, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of my videos. It helps me in the YouTube algorithm world. Also, too, notifications, turn those on if you want to know when the next live's going to be, all that good stuff, and so you're in the loop if you like this format. So that said, thank you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms, and we will see you next time. Bye!